Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Titanium Vault. I'm your host, RJ Bates. Today's episode is called You Can't Finish What You Don't Start. And hopefully my mind-blowing knowledge that I'm about to share in this episode is not as obvious as the title would indicate. A couple of housekeeping items before we bust into today's episode. Remember to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. We only accept 5-star reviews. If you want to leave us less than 5 stars, go leave it on somebody else's podcast. We don't want it. We only want those 5-star reviews. We need a handful more of reviews on iTunes to get us up to 100 5-star reviews. So if you haven't done it yet, please do that for us. It means the world to me. I see them all pop up. I see them from across the world. I saw someone the other day left me a 5-star review about the sowing seeds in Forever Fields episode. Says it was a swift kick in the butt that they needed. So please leave us that 5-star review. One other item before we bust into today's episode is, if you haven't checked out Batch Leads, please do so. Go to batchleads.io, use promo code Titanium. You get half off your first month. If you're watching on YouTube, you see it straight scrolling down there at the bottom. Batch Leads just rolled out Batch Skip Tracing 2.0, Batch Comps 2.0, Batch List 2.0. It's amazing. I was messing around with it yesterday. Love seeing all the new criteria that they have for their lists. Just absolutely everything that we do, acquisitions and dispositions wise at this point, is run through the Batch system. So check that out. Get half off your first month. Use promo code Titanium. All right, moving forward. You can't finish what you don't start, okay? So here we are. It's December 2nd, 2020. That's when we're releasing this episode. It's when I'm recording it. I'm recording it on the day that I'm releasing it. We're approaching the end of the year, right? And so a couple of things happen in this time of the year, right? December, January. It's very easy for us to sit there and start thinking about what we're going to do in 2021 as a business. What are our goals? What are we going to strive for? Be it how many deals are we going to do? What's our gross profit going to be? What's our revenue going to be? What's our net profit going to be? All of these types of things now we start thinking about, right? But we're not quite to January yet. What I would like to ask you here on December 2nd is go back and remember where you were December of 2019 and January of 2020 this year, right? What were those goals and aspirations that you had for yourself and for your business? And look back and see, when you set a goal in January of 2020, A, did you achieve it first and foremost? If you did, why did you achieve it? Okay, what led to that result? If you didn't achieve it, I want you to seriously sit down and be completely honest with yourself. Did you actually do everything in your power to try to achieve that goal? Because I think, and this is maybe my personal opinion, and then just listening to other people and hearing their stories as to why maybe they're underachieving, not accomplishing the goals that they set out for themselves, is because they never actually truly started. There wasn't a true plan on how you were going to achieve the goal, right? It's easy to sit there and say, I'm going to do 6 figures a month, or I'm going to run a $2 million a year business. Okay, well, how are you going to get there? Break it down from start to finish, reverse engineer it on how you're actually going to get there. If you're going to do that, what's your average wholesale fee per deal? What's your average, profit per flip? Whatever it is that you do in your business, and reverse engineer it. How many deals do you have to do? How many deals do you have to do per month? How many deals do you have to do per week? And then go even a step further. How much marketing do you have to do to achieve those numbers? Did you do that in January of 2019 or 2020, December 2019, when you were coming up with your goals for this year? Because I think the problem is that it's easy. It's actually fun to sit there and say, this is what I'm going to accomplish. That sounds great. I've done this before. So I'm speaking from experience where I've said, I'm going to achieve this lofty goal over here. And then I even took it as far as I reverse engineered it and said, this is what that means. In order to do, X amount of revenue for the next year, I need to do this much revenue per month, this much revenue per week. And it always seems achievable, right? I mean, if you're running a $1 or $2 million business, which I'm assuming the vast majority of our listeners that are in real estate are, maybe even a little bit less, it's really not that much money per week. When you're talking about we can do deals on a wholesaling side, $10,000 to $30,000 fairly easily in most markets, it's really not that many deals that we're doing, right? So it seems very easily accomplished. We're setting a goal and it feels like, man, I can go out and I can bust this out very easily. Did you nail it all the way down? Did you get extremely granular with how you were going to do it? That's what I want you to sit down. And then if you have, did you follow through with the actions? When it came March, April, May, June, July, were you still as energetic about that goal as you were in January? When you're right in the middle of the grind and the day-to-day, were you still showing up every day with the same fire and passion that you had when you set out to achieve that goal? Be honest with yourself and look back at what happened in 2020, right? A lot of things happened in this year that could have kept you from accomplishing your goal. Is that what kept you from achieving that goal? Or was it you made excuses for yourself and you said, well, COVID happened, a lockdown happened, it became harder to acquire properties. My buyers stopped buying because they were afraid of what was going to happen with the real estate market. Did you make those kind of excuses? Is that what held you back? Now, that's a lot of talk about people that didn't achieve those goals. But what about the people that did achieve their goals? They set out for something that was, because I've seen a lot of this as well. I've seen a lot of people say, hey, 2020 has been the best year that I've ever had in business. And a lot of people felt like because of the lockdowns in different states, not having the same distractions that were always there, made them really laser focused on what they were doing in their business. And they got to work on systems and processes, maybe even become a little bit more creative with their marketing strategies or a little bit more efficient with their marketing budgets. A lot of different reasons as to why they became laser focused and actually achieved those goals that they set out for themselves. Now, what I want you to do is look back at that, take that recipe, actually think about it. Okay, if I achieve my goals, why did I achieve them? And how am I going to replicate that again in 2021? Because there's the possibility that now, because you set out to achieve a goal and you did it, if you don't sit back and learn and realize why you achieved those goals, now you can go out and become lackadaisical. Feel like organically you're going to just take the next step in your business, right? And if you don't, you're going to be looking back in December of 2021 saying, what happened? 2020 was such a crazy year, but I achieved my goals. I exceeded those goals. Why did I not replicate those exact same results in 2021? This is a time for reflection, looking back on what we could do better or what we did well and how we replicate that or even expound upon it. But that's important, right? How do you take success and just extrapolate it across a team? Scale it up, go to that next level. So the point in this was you can't finish what you don't start, right? That's today's episode. And what I meant by that, what inspired me to even say this, because I'm sitting here and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to do a podcast by myself. What have I not said before, right? course, I repeat over and over and over, take action. One of my favorite podcasts I ever did just a couple of weeks ago, Shut Up and Get Out of Your Own Way, was literally that. Like, just go out there and take massive action. It's okay if you mess up. It's okay if you messed up this year and you didn't achieve your goals. It's over with. It's in the past now. Just don't repeat it in 2021. Don't now sit here and say, okay, well, it's a new year, 2021. I'm going to have amazing results and come up with cool goals that you're going to go achieve and not reverse engineer and figure out how you're going to achieve it, or sit down and analyze, why did I not achieve my goals in 2020? If the excuse is something outside of your business, something that happened in the world, something that happened to everybody else, that's not an acceptable answer. You need to actually sit down and say, what I can control, right? In my business, what are we doing marketing wise? How are we putting ourselves out there? How many people actually know that we want to buy houses? How many people know we want to sell houses? And what do those numbers look like? Track those KPIs and figure it out. If you've listened to multiple episodes of my podcast, at this point in time, you should be able to look back at your business and analyze it deeply and understand what is working and what is not working. If you've listened to 4 or 5 episodes, that means you've been in this for at least a couple of months. You have data to go back and look at and see what's working and what's not working. You don't need years and years of data to figure that out. I go run one single campaign in a market. For example, Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's a market that during the 50-day challenge, we really felt like, all right, that's a market that we could do well in, right? I initially tried Oklahoma City and it didn't work. I then tried Edmond, Oklahoma, it didn't work. And then I went to Tulsa and I ran a smaller campaign than I ran in Oklahoma City, and we got 3 deals there and we were able to dispo all 3 of them. Now that was exciting. And so then we said, all right, let's turn around. Let's do additional marketing there. And so we're diving in. Now with just those 2 small text campaigns, right? No cold calling, no RVMs, no direct mail, nothing else, just SMS blasts using batch leads. I can sit there and I can now reverse engineer and say, utilizing the data that I have, for every 2,000 texts that I send out there, we should get 2 deals. That's what it looks like. Those are really good numbers. The ROI on that marketing is very strong in comparison to some of the other markets that we went to. Now, if I don't take that data and then figure out what I want to do on a weekly, monthly, and yearly basis in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I'm failing myself. I need to dive deeper into that and set up a plan for that specific market on how we're going to capitalize on that opportunity that's in front of us. That's what I mean by you can't finish what you don't start. I kind of started, but I need to keep going. And now I could go finish and accomplish the goals that I'm going to set out for Titanium Investments in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I hope over the course of the next month, as you're figuring out what you want to do in 2021 and you create those goals, because that's what everybody does in January, right? We've got the New Year's resolutions. We're going to come up with all these nifty, lofty goals that we're going to do and how we're going to be the next massive rock star wholesaler real estate investor. How are you actually going to do it? And when you come up with that plan, make sure you execute it. Make sure you start and you take that massive action. And every day you're striving to exceed those goals. Because if not, you're going to look back 2021 and you're going to look back and say, I let myself down. I'm not using the data that's there in front of me from all of these experiences that I've had. 2020 It's one of the craziest years out there, right? We all know that. One of my favorite things happened today. I listen to music all day, every day, and I listen on Spotify, and they have what's called Spotify year-end Wrapped, right? They tell you all of your data for the year. What was your favorite, most listened to songs, your favorite artists, your favorite podcasts, which, by the way, I'd love to see everybody tag the Titanium Vault and me for being the top podcast listened to on Spotify. But it wraps all that up and it shows you this data, right? We should be doing the exact same thing in our business. We should be looking back and saying, what were the good months? And was there a correlation between, hey, July was a great month and we also spent more money in July or June in marketing than we did any other month? Now just try to replicate that. I know it seems really simple, right? This advice is really simple, but it's also some of the most just ignored wisdom and knowledge out there by entrepreneurs. It's shocking to me how you could ask someone, how many texts does it take to get a deal in your market? And they say, I have no idea. Or I could look that up. You should just know that. It's always available to you. So hopefully you take this advice and over the next month or so, or whenever you're listening to it, you just sit down and analyze your business a little bit when you're thinking about what you want to accomplish moving forward to the next year. Again, guys, remember, if you're listening on iTunes, make sure you give us a 5-star review. We only need a handful more to get to 100 5-star reviews. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give us a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell for me so you get notified of all of our future videos. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you have a beautiful week. We'll see you soon.